This is a 1963 Hammond B3 organ with a Leslie 122. The client brought it in here because of very loud noises, hums, and we found that it was actually due to the motors. The top motor stack, it turned out, was put in here backwards, flipped around, and because of that it was kind of touching the interior wooden box and resonating. But the motors still needed a lot of love, and so they were taken apart, worn out parts replaced, oiled and clean, and all good now. This Leslie's sounding pretty good, sounds the way it should. Somebody already rebuilt the amplifier years ago. That work is fine. I just cleaned out the amp, and we're gonna get new power tubes for this thing and should be good to go. So for the organ, this is a early 1963 organ. You can tell it has a pilot light, although the light is not there. I'm gonna replace it soon. It has the fluted vibrato knob, has you know, the smooth drawbar knobs, they're not labeled. Has of course the black plastic cheek blocks. The serial number, based on the serial number, we can tell from others like it that it's from early 63. When I hear of an organ that's from the 60s or 63 or later, I get worried about foam. So, foam. We look for rivets on the manual chassis. That's what we look for. And the bottom manual, you can just see a rivet right there. That means there's felt on the bottom manual. Yay! The upper manual, we do not see the same rivets anywhere. And that tells me there's foam in the upper manual. But given that this is a early 63, they most likely used felt insulated resistance wires on the inside. So they are less prone to being eaten away by foam. As it happens, there's no dead notes on this organ. At least there's no dead notes that are only unique to one manual. You know, go up and down one drawbar at a time. If you do this for every single drawbar, I did not find a single dead tone in the upper manual. So even though I would normally strongly recommend defoaming, getting that foam out of there, it's not really critical in this case because it happens to be a build of organ that probably has felt covered resistance wires and is less likely to be damaged by foam. So good for this customer, because that's a long job. Of course, this is a wax cap generator organ, but it sounds pretty good. There's a few tones that are a little quieter than the neighbors, but it's really not. I wouldn't recap this generator. I think it sounds pretty good. Now the preamp has had some work done to it. It's pretty good work for the most part. Ooh, that's fun. I'm gonna check out the wiring. There's probably a loose connection in here somewhere. Obviously I'm thumping it and it's making noise. We'll check that out. When I first got this, this can capacitor was like super wobbly, and it's still a little wobbly. I tried to tighten it. It's still working fine. It doesn't need to be replaced. Let me turn this off and show you what's under the preamp. Okay, I'm gonna flip it over. All right. I have added the Trek 2 fuse kit. That's all I've done so far. It looks like someone's already replaced the 2 CAN capacitors, and they still work fine, minus the looseness I told you about, which I'm going to try to reinforce them. Interestingly, this CAN was replaced with the 2020 CAN, and where those orange wires meet, that is supposed to be a 10 microfarad section. It's now 20. Oh, that's fine. Where that red wire is, that's supposed to be a 50 microfarad capacitor. And as you can see, they have joined 3 of them together, which means that is the equivalent of a 60 microfarad capacitor. At first I questioned that, but now I realize it's fine. I'm not going to replace these. They are doing what they're supposed to do. Someone has already replaced the cathode bypass capacitors with 100 microfarad capacitors right there and right there, those blue ones. And someone has already replaced the plate load resistors to the 6AU6 tubes. They have not replaced the plate load resistors that go to the 12AX7 tube. I will replace those since we're here. But that's all this preamp needs. It sounds pretty good. Of course, I'm gonna look at the wiring, and there's probably a loose connection in this bundle that we need to fix. It's got some wire nuts going on. There's no thread going to the run motor there. You see there's a tub. There's supposed to be a thread running down from here, and there is none. And so I told the owner about that, but he doesn't really want to fix it. And I said, okay, well, you're gonna have to manually oil that bearing. See, that bronze bearing, you've got to oil it by hand every time you oil this organ. So otherwise it's gonna run dry. So that's it. This rig is almost done, and you know, it sounded great when it got here, minus the motor noise, and it's gonna sound even better when it's done.